Hello everyone! Today I'm going to dive into the cooking hut and both tier 2 and tier 3 food. Note that this video will contain spoilers, so if you wish to explore the world of Aska on your own, now is the time to turn off this video. Still here? Good, let's go. My workers have been hard at work for 3 days now, and some of them have been promoted to tier 3 and 2. As they level their skills, they will get promoted to higher tiers, and with that they will get a bit more entitled. They will get a bit more sad over having to work, and they will want you to treat them with better food. So today we are going to dive into the cooking hut, the natural step in the food production series. You find the building in the builder menu, category 7. It is recommended to build this next to a warehouse that contains raw food. And done. Here we can see that we have a crock pot that uses fuel, we have storage for vegetables and for meat, and we have storage for cooked food. We also see that we can assign 2 workers. So our recommendation is to have 1 day and 1 night worker so that the cooking hut is producing around the clock. At the start, 1 cook can easily supply food for a village of up to 40 villagers if you have access to raw food and water close by. As you can see right behind, we have a water well, but that one is also used by the farm, so I'm gonna go ahead and build another one right here. The villager you assign to the cooking hut does not need any tools if you are supplying them with the raw food they need at the warehouse. If you have meat hunks and fish hanging on racks in the warehouse, then your cook will need a knife to chop them up into parts. Now let's assign a worker and take a look at the tasks. At the top, you can prioritize what fuel is used to keep the cooking hut going. The best fuel is coal, so it should be far to the left, even if you don't produce any coal right now. Myself, I always uncheck the other things because I absolutely don't want them to be used as fuel. Next, we have the filler options. Now what is this? Each cooking recipe needs 4 ingredients, where at least one of these is a so-called filler. With this section, you can choose what you want to use as a filler or not. Early game, I recommend using berries, as we have a lot of them and they are not worthy cooking by themselves or eating raw. At this state, I need to tell you that you need to not use eggs as a filler, as they will turn your food into spoiled. My personal recommendation is also to uncheck all the cooked food from the barbecue, as you don't want your tier 1 food to be wasted here. Now let's open a new task and see what shows up. Not much. We know how to make berry compote, that is tier 2, and berry jam, that is tier 3. If we press on any of them, we see the amount of ingredients that is needed to cook this. We see that we need 4 water, 3 berries, and 1 raw vegetarian food. This is what is considered the filler. These 2 dishes are not worthy of making, as they fill very little hunger. So what we need to do now is to learn how to cook other things. And that is the job of the chieftain of this village. Something that these 2 dishes are doing, they are giving you a hint to how to make the recipes for the other food. We see that in order to make the tier 2 food, we need to have 4 water. But when we switch over to the tier 3, it's only 2 water. In order to cook, you need to open the crock pot by pressing E. And here you can see that you can choose how much water you wish to have in this recipe. Then you can see what ingredients are in the recipe right now, and you have access to the storage in the cooking house. The way you start cooking is by putting in how much water you want, either for tier 2 or tier 3, and then you right click on the ingredients you wish to have in your food. Now, since we know that having that egg as a filler is going to spoil my food, I am going to take it out and put in a berry instead. Now you only press on cook and you can see that we have a progress bar. On the bottom you can see the content in this crock pot. When the cooking is complete, it will change to a different progress bar. Now you can see that we have 4 soups available to take out from the crock pot. And we see that there is some kind of progress bar happening right now. This is the timer for when the food is going to burn and become cold. If you don't take out your food, you know what's gonna happen. So we are gonna go ahead and take out our food and leave it in the storage. Now, since we have cooked something new, it has been added to our cooking recipe list. We can now assign our workers to make this dish. When assigning what food to make, you can tell the worker how many batches of food of this sort you want to make. Now you can see that on the list we have our poached eggs. The cooking hut storage has room for 20 dishes, so if you have no warehouse worker that grabs the cooked food, the cook will stop making food when it's full. Back to the prior list, this means that just like the workshop, he will make the first dish until the amount in storage is the same amount as in the task, and then move on to the next dish. If you then have a warehouse worker taking out this food, the cook will make the same dish over and over, as he will not reach the requested amount. If you then want to make both tier 2 and tier 3 food, you can either assign 2 cooks where each of them does a different dish, or you can change the order of the dishes every couple of days to make sure you have enough in storage. Early game, you might have 1 or 2 villagers on tier 3, so you don't need to make a lot of that food. You could tell your worker to make it for half a day and then change the order of the dishes to make tier 2 food instead. By taking a quick glance in the settlement tab, resources and food, you can keep track so you don't run out of tier 3 food. I will quickly mention that we have that warehouse war going on. That means that the warehouse worker will come and take out the raw food that the cook has placed in the baskets. A way around that is to go into the cooking hut menu, go to whitelists, uncheck everyone, check them again, and remove the warehouse worker from the list. Early game, this warehouse worker might be the one that takes both raw and cooked food for you, which means that Aori will not be able to take out the cooked food out of this storage. Later in the game, that will not become a problem, because you will most likely have 1 warehouse for cooked food and 1 for raw food. You will only blacklist the warehouse worker that works with the raw food, which makes the whole process of getting the cooked food out of here work without a hitch. Like in my tier 1 food video, I will give you a list of all the tier 2 and 3 food recipes. Let's start with tier 2. To make any of the tier 2 food, you need to add 4 water and then choose your ingredients. Depending on what ingredients you choose, that decides what kind of food it becomes. After it's cooked, you will have 4 portions of food. On the screen, you can see all tier 2 recipes. As you can see, almost all the recipes require 3 of the same item. Exception to this rule is the fish and meat soup that requires only 1. That means that if you accidentally use fish or meat as a filler, that soup will become meat or fish soup. Now let's add how much hunger they restore. I have organized them in the order of least filling to most filling. Just like tier 1 food, garlic and onion soup are still healing. Additionally, cabbage soup also is healing the same amount as onion soup. Now let's move on to tier 3 food. To make tier 3 food, you only need 2 water in the crock pot and then the 4 ingredients. Out of this, you will receive 2 portions, so it means that the same amount of time you will make half as much food. On screen, you can see all the tier 3 recipes. They are exactly the same as tier 2, just with less water. Now let's add how much hunger they restore. The order of the dishes is also by how much hunger they restore. As you can see, cabbage stew, garlic jam, and onion stew still has their healing properties. So let's summarize. The most filling food for tier 2 is fish soup, meat soup, and poached eggs. The most filling for tier 3 is fish stew and meat stew. Tier 2 healing food we have garlic soup, onion soup, and cabbage soup. And in tier 3 we have healing food garlic jam, onion stew, and cabbage stew. Important to note is that the raw garlic and onion heals for exactly the same amount as when you have cooked them. I personally do not cook any garlic or onion dishes because I rather bring the raw materials with me and heal than have a cook spend time and water to make these dishes when I don't get any more benefit from it. While you're out doing adventures, I recommend checking in on the resource tab every now and then to see that you have food in the different tiers that you know you need. In the food section, the different tiers will be separated, so it's easy to see if you have all the different tiers of food. In the future, you will be able to upgrade your cooking hut into a cooking house, where you will get access to make tier 4 food. This concludes the dive into the cooking hut, tier 2 and tier 3 food. Thank you for watching!